Well, this is unplanned. As you can see, I am sitting in my car, guys, with my Ugg boots on and my pajamas, and I've just gone and got my drive-through coffee, fresh with no makeup, no hair done, no bra on. Does anyone else do this, or is it just me? Like, especially on like a Saturday morning. Okay, so I don't know. I woke up at 6:30 in the morning, and I've been laying in my bed doom scrolling on Facebook and Instagram. Boom, 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 boom. Doom scrolling for like an hour, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. I need coffee, but I didn't feel like spending the however long I need to wash my hair. Basically, that's a task in itself. At the current rental house that I'm in, the water pressure is really, really slow and low, and I can't even tell you how long it takes me to wash my hair. It's a task. It's like a 1 hour task just to be able to do 2 or 3 shampoos and a conditioner and then wash it all out, and it's a task, let me tell you that. So I was like, I need to wash my hair today, but I really need my coffee. And do I spend the hour like sorting myself out, or do I just go get coffee? And then I'm like, stuff it, I'm gonna go get coffee. And then I pull over in what Tom likes to refer to as romantic spot. So Tom and I quite often, when we're like out and about, we grab a coffee and we grab something like rushed fast that we're eating in the car, and he'll be like, rightio, taking you to romantic spot number 3, where we basically park the car and like have our date in the car. So that's how I feel like at the moment. I feel like I'm in romantic spot number 10 or something with no Tom. Anyway, I got my coffee. It's freaking burning hot. I get the long black, and then like sometimes they take me like, I don't know, they take me half an hour before I can even start to take a sip sometimes. But I don't know if this is just me. I like to sit in the car when I drink a coffee. So if I, like, in the morning when I'm going to the warehouse, it actually works perfect for me because it's a 45-minute drive. So I just get the coffee and then I drive out to the warehouse, and it takes me the whole 45 minutes, and my coffee's kind of just finishing as I arrive at the warehouse. But if I go out in the morning, like say I'm at Tom's house and we go and get coffee through the drive-through and then go straight to the warehouse, he gets um like a mocha thing. So it's not burning hot like my long black. So we get back to the warehouse within that 5-minute drive from the coffee shop. He's ready to go straight back in and start working, and I want to sit in the car for my 40 minutes and waste my time. Like, what am I doing? I'm probably like procrastinating on the day ahead about all the monotonous tasks that I need to go in and do. So I sit there in my car and I don't know why. I've always done that. Doesn't matter what it is. It's not just the monotonous tasks that I've got going on at the moment in the warehouse. It is something that I've always done. I just always like to get a coffee, pull over somewhere and sit in the car and drink my coffee. So I don't know. Tell me, does anyone else do that, or am I just weird? I'm pretty much weird. Okay, I wasn't going to talk today, but I kind of woke up and things have been on my mind as I've been doom scrolling, and they were on my mind before I went to bed. And then, like, like, I got in the car and I started almost like talking to myself, like talking through the sound even crazier. It's like I talk through what's going on in my head, and then like I'm just like, shit, I need to be getting all this out like onto the camera or something before I procrastinate on how to make another video. Okay, firstly, I want to say thank you to anyone who watched my last video where I sat on the floor and got real and told you what was on my mind. I'm really, really, really grateful for the support, guys. There must be nearly 800 comments on that video. Like, I get on my phone and I start going through my YouTube app, and I'll get like 5 minutes and I'll answer some comments, and then I have to go do a task, and then I come back and there's more comments, and so like then I'll answer another few, and then I'm going back. But when I actually went to the computer and I had a look and I'm just scrolling, I was like, holy moly. So many people have left me comments on this video, and I appreciate every single one of them. And thank you for the support that you've given me. Maybe I need to elaborate a little bit. Like, I don't want it to sound like I'm all like doomsday, and I really sometimes I don't like making videos when I feel really flat or negative, because I don't want to portray that negative energy always on you guys. But I also want to keep it real at the same time and share where I'm at, because like I do go up and down with my moods quite a lot. And I just want to confirm, because of with some of the comments that I've had, I still do really like eBay. Like when I say I don't really love eBay at the moment, it's just that I don't really love the grind that I'm in with eBay. I don't really love the pressures that I put on myself with the eBay, and the pressures that I have with I guess being um a public seller, and everybody kind of like watching everything I watching everything I do and trying to live up to the standard of, and I don't even know whose standard it is. It's probably just the standard that I've put on myself, but it's like I'm trying to live up to a standard of someone who's running what I would deem as like full-time a proper full-time eBay business. And so I've got these standards that I put on myself, and while I'm trying to do YouTube as well, and I'm trying to run a family, and I commute to work, and like I've got all these other responsibilities, so I'm running two full-time jobs on top of everything else, and that's where I'm struggling. I'm struggling because of the amount of work I'm trying to do in my time, with the personality of somebody who gets exhausted very quickly, especially mentally exhausted. It is part of this ADHD thing that I have going on. So like I don't work in the same way that everyone else does, and I do get really, really tired from the mental exhaustion of what's going on inside my brain constantly. But most of it, I think, just comes from the added pressure that I put on myself all the time, and this standard that I'm trying to keep up with, like of this eBay store. Like I haven't wanted to let anyone down. I've almost wanted to like prove that I can run like a big eBay store and make all this money from it. And I actually already know that I can do that. Like my sales are pretty good. Like my goal for Q1 was to get back to the same goals that I was at before I turned the store off for a month or 6 weeks in December, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to hit that goal. I feel like I am running a successful eBay business, and I know that if I wanted to increase the sales on my eBay business, I know how to do it. I know how to list higher quality items with higher average sale prices. I know that I have to list more and grow my store bigger, and work on the sell through rate. I know how to actually get more sales on eBay. And I think sometimes that's half the problem with me. I like a challenge. And sometimes I feel like eBay's not really much of a challenge to me anymore, because I know how to do it. It's just like kind of entering like a spreadsheet. I already know how to do eBay. Like, whereas YouTube challenges me nonstop, because there's the challenges of like creating the content. There's the challenges of how to get into the algorithm and get the video seen, and the challenges of coming up with the title that's going to add enough curiosity to make you guys want to click. So there's a whole lot of compartments to YouTube that I find so fascinating and so rewarding and so challenging all at the same time. Whereas like eBay, I guess it feels rewarding when I'm rewarded with the sales for the amount of work that I put in. But like often we put in a lot of work on eBay and we have slow sales. It's just how it is. And so that's when you get kind of a bit down in the dump, that like you're doing all this work, and when sales are slow, the first thing we think of when sales are slow is, shit, sales are slow. What am I going to do? Well, shit, I better list more. I better go list some extra listings, or I better put up my good items onto like a sale to try and just like almost be desperado in to get some money. So I don't really feel like that challenge so much with eBay. Like even when sales are slow, like it's not like a challenge to me, like, oh, it's a challenge. Sales are slow. How am I going to make this money? That's not how I really feel. To me, it feels like, oh, sales are slow. I know what to do. I've got to go freaking list another 50 items to try and spark some activity up into my store. So I don't want anyone to get me wrong that I don't really like eBay. I just don't really find it as challenging. But I will say that some of the tasks in my eBay business I do actually like. Like I get a lot of comments, you need to hire a VA, you need to like do this, people offering to me to be VA, which I'm thankful for. But I actually quite like the listing process. That's not one of the tasks in my eBay business that drains me. So I'm trying to think of my life now into energy, like tasks that are draining me, and I want to eliminate those tasks. And then the tasks that give me energy or that I enjoy or I find relaxing, they're the tasks that I want to do. Right. So listing, I actually find it quite enjoyable. I find it quite therapeutic to sit at my computer and list. I don't have any problems listing. It's not something I overstress about. I list like one item every minute. So I'm not a slow lister. I would deem myself a fast lister. It's like I like the listing. Now, the photographs, I've kind of worked out that there's photographs that I really, really like taking, and then there's photographs that I don't so much like taking. So the individual books that are all kind of like very similar size, um, the books that are in really nice condition, I like photographing those individual books. I find that quite relaxing again, like the listing. I can just get into a rhythm for an hour or sometimes 2 hours, however long I feel like, and I get myself into a rhythm, and I normally listen to music or a podcast, and I enjoy that process. The bundles I find a little bit more draining, and they take me a little bit more motivation to build up to doing the task. So I set the bundles aside and I tend to sit on them until I get to the point where I'm like, I need this shelf space. I need to do these bundles. So I do prefer listing individual books to bundles. So that's something that I'm also trying to just, I don't want to give up selling bundles because they make me a lot of profit. They're great. I definitely prefer photographing individual books. So there's been times where I've flicked between, do I want to go down more of a bundle path with my business and sell more bundles over single books to get the average sale price up? But I feel like that would probably be a little bit more draining for me. And I think it's just a matter of finding the balance between the individual books and the bundles of books. Now, the packing as well, I don't really find the packing, like, I like packing the orders. I like seeing what's sold. I like thinking about like the hard work that I did to get it to that sale spot, like feels rewarding to me. I like to thank the money as it's coming in and out. So I like the packing process, and I like making the packing videos that I share for you guys. And you guys seem to like those as well, and I enjoy making those. So those tasks in my eBay business aren't bothering me. What's bothering me is the sheer quantity of the books into the cages that I've got at the moment. So it's just that overwhelming amount. And when I've got large amounts of things to do on my to-do, like I don't even like having a to-do list. Or do you know I don't even have a calendar? I can't cope with having a calendar. I can't cope with looking at all these things that I have to do. Like, it frustrates my mum to no end when she says, let's book this in, and a couple of my girlfriends as well, let's book a coffee in 3 weeks time. And I'm like, can one of you guys like message me like 2 days before the coffee, because I'll forget. And they'll be like, why can't you put it in your calendar, Mel? And I'll be like, I don't have a freaking calendar. I hate the calendar. I don't want a calendar. So the overwhelming quantity of the books is kind of similar to me. Like it's just like this weight on me, this constant, like, always something to do. And when I walk into the warehouses now, it's like I've got this constant just this task list. Like it's just a never ending. It's like the never ending story. Does anyone else break into song whenever they think of a word or something that matches? Anyway, it's like the never ending story for me when I come into the warehouse, and it's like a Groundhog Day, right? So that's what I'm kind of saying in that video that I don't really like. And when I'm doing that Groundhog Day, I feel like, one, I'm doing the same thing in my shed every day. I don't get to be creative in the videos that I make, and I like to make different types of videos. And when I'm in Groundhog Day, I feel like I'm just repeating the same videos, which bores me. And I know it doesn't necessarily bore you guys as the viewers, but it bores me and gets into my head of like, oh my God, I just made that video last week, and now what have I got this week? I'm doing the same thing. Like, if I'm going to document my day in this warehouse, I'm doing the same freaking thing to make the same freaking video. So that I know you guys don't mind that, but I do. Like, I get bored with that as a creator. That's not how I feel like a creator, really. That's just doing a task to me. Feels like that's just, oh, do that and you'll do that and you'll get your money and blah, blah, blah. And it just doesn't feel, it just doesn't feel fun to me to do that. And I like fun. Clearly I like to, I don't know, I just like to, I struggle. I don't know how to be bored either. I don't know how to do nothing. I've been like researching like slow living and stuff, and it's like, because I know that I need to slow down a little bit, and it's like, so I can't believe I have to like even research how to slow living. It's like, I don't know how to slow living. I don't know how to slow down, but I know I make the same mistakes, and people tell me that in the comments as well. Like I'm not learning from my mistakes, and I do actually learn from the mistakes, and I know what I'm doing wrong. But I do sometimes jump into things thinking, "Oh, that'll be great. I'll do that. It's all right. I can do it again." And then I get back to that same position where I'm like, "Shit, I've done it again. I've made the same mistake. Come on, Mel, learn, learn, learn." Right. So I think the consensus of what I've been thinking is the balance that I've got going on, well, there is no balance. The consensus that I've got going on is that I can't maintain how I'm doing it because I just feel like I'm living a constant life of going into burnout. Like it's the same roller coaster. I go in, I work my way out, and it's, let me tell you guys, it's hard for me to work myself out when I'm down here in the slump. I got to mentally, it's hard for me to push myself to bring back my spark. It's hard. So it's exhausting going in and out of this burnout. It's not what I want to do. I don't want to look like I'm not trying to manage my burnout or not. I think half the reason I burn out so quickly all the time is because of the ADHD. Like that in itself is burnout. Um, so I think for me though, I can't continue the way that I'm doing. I can't continue to put these pressures on me and worry about meeting everybody else's standards and meeting the expectations that I feel on me that I've put on myself. I've put these expectations on myself. I make assumptions about what everyone else is thinking about my eBay business. I make assumptions like that everybody's watching my store. And one thing I learned from that last video that I put out is half the people I think who are watching me aren't even resellers, which I'm actually so thankful for. I've worked really hard on this channel to make content to reach a broader audience than just resellers. And I did that intentionally because I thought to myself, what if one day I don't want to resell? Because I do get bored quickly and I do change jobs after like 5 years or something. And this is the longest I've ever done a job. And I don't want to give it up. But I've always been very aware that eBay is like the job and YouTube is like my creative outlet where I can come on here and speak, and I've got a platform to talk about my views on things. And I never wanted that to be like, if I only make that about my eBay and then I don't do eBay one day in 5 years, 10 years, what happens to my platform where I've only talked about eBay? So I never wanted that. So I don't really feel like I need to cut back on my YouTube. Like the YouTube, I love making the videos, right? And I know I go through slumps where I'm really on, and I was really good there for December, January, most of February of videos every 2 days. But once I hit that wall, I find it hard to jump back up. But I've hit that wall because of the assumptions that I've made in my own head about what I think other people think of me, or the expectations that I've put on myself about my eBay store and what I think everyone expects from me. And then when I read the comments, there's so many comments from people who just want me to slow down. And it's like, I've made these expectations that everyone wants me to be this big ass eBay seller, to look like I'm almost practicing what I preach, I guess. And I don't think I have to be like that. I think I can scale my eBay back to, I still want to do eBay. I still want to make my income from eBay, but maybe I can just scale it back so I don't have all the pressures that I'm putting on myself. And the idea is, now I've made the decision. I don't want to continue to do cages after this. So now there just needs to be a plan in action of getting through the cages that I've got. I don't want to sell them off to someone else. I've thought about it. Tom offered to buy them back from me weeks ago. Weeks ago, he offered to buy them back from me. He knew I was struggling, right? He offered to buy them back from me. I said no, right? Tom isn't on my back or anything about needing those cages back. There was only the initial stage where he needed a few of them back for an incoming haul, which he had early February, right? Since then, he's not asked me for one cage. However, he does encourage me to get through the cages, not so much because he needs the cages back, which he would like back, but he doesn't need them back. But he encourages me to get through it because he knows what I'm like, and he knows that they're a burden on me and a weight on me. And he doesn't want me to have that burden and weight for like 12 months, because he knows that if I'm not kind of like encouraged to get through the cages, then I will just sit on them and procrastinate and take my time and not hurry and not like be like, that can wait, that can wait, that can wait. I don't want to do it. Right. And he knows then I'll have those cages for 12 months, which is not ideal. I don't want them in my space. I don't want to be dealing with this ongoing weight on my shoulders for like 12 months. So my idea is that my daughter's due to have her baby in mid-July. She's actually due on my birthday, the 13th of July. So she's due to have them. I would like to have the cages finished before July, by end of June, which gives me about 3 months. That way, I would like to take a couple of weeks off when my daughter has the baby, and if I know that I'm leaving the warehouse nice and clean and sparkling and without all this stuff to come back to after that, that would be fantastic. So I think those are kind of where I'm working towards at the moment. Try and work my way through the cages a little bit every day. It's like taking a bite, eating the elephant one bite at a time. Eat the frog. What is they say? Eat the frog. Eat the frog. So it's a matter of doing some cages every day, accepting that I'm going to have mess in the warehouse and stuff around me, which I don't like, but accepting that it's okay to have that because it's only going to be for a few months. There's a plan in action now. It's not going to continue. It's just for a few months, Mel. Let's just work our way through it and then it'll be done, right? And then after that, I'm probably just going to go back to doing my eBay, where I go out, find cool things, buy them, come back, photograph and list it. I will have no problems walking into my empty warehouse without that doesn't have piles of things to do, and walking in there with my one tub of books that I've just bought out at like a local thrift shop, and coming in and photographing and listing those. I don't struggle with that. It's just the mass quantity that ends up like, when I take it on, I feel like it's exciting. Oh, look at this new shiny task. Well, this is going to be fun. It's a challenge. I always like a challenge. Like I talk about before, eBay doesn't challenge me. So the cages, that was my challenge for eBay. Can I get through these cages? Can I do this? Will I like this? Like, it's like I thrive off challenges. Do you know what I mean? And because eBay so much doesn't challenge me on a platform basis, doing the cages was a challenge. But now I've kind of worked out, you know what, Mel? Maybe you don't always need a challenge, especially challenges that, are all really fun in the first 2 weeks, and then you just know they're going to be a burden on you. So that's where I'm at. And let me see if I can drink some of this coffee, because look at me. I'll probably get back and start editing this video and be like, Mel, you can't share that. Look at you look terrible. This is the reality, guys. I'm 49 in a couple of months. I just some mornings I look like shit. 49. That's been on my mind, guys. 49 in July. I like to listen to people who are in their 60s on YouTube because I like to hear their experiences of life, and they often talk about in their 60s things that they wish they'd done in their 40s and 50s, and I like to listen to that kind of stuff because I take that advice on board. Like, I hear, like, even now in my late 40s, I used to hear other people give the advice that in the late 40s, and I'd be like, oh yeah, that's ages away, right? And now that I'm in my late 40s, I'm like, what advice can I give other people? Like, and the biggest one is always just like, stop caring what other people think of you. Like, it's a hard one. It's a hard one to get through. But so I listened to this guy the other day. He's 64, I think he said. Anyway, he's just had his gallbladder. I can't remember his name. He's on YouTube. He's just had his gallbladder out, had a surgery. It was the anniversary of one of his parents' death. His favourite band drummer or guitarist or something from a jazz band or something passed away at age 69, and it got him all thinking. And he was talking about how he thinks of his life in seasons, and each season is like 7 years. So he was like thinking about his rocker idol that died at 69, and he's like, so when he was 62, I wonder, like, imagine if he'd thought to himself, I've only got one more season of my life. What am I going to do with it? And so he's like, and I'm here now at 64 thinking, what if I only have one more season of my life? And he thinks of these seasons as 7-year periods. And he's like, so what about anyone watching? What if you only had like one season of your life left, or two, or maybe even three, but what if you've only got a few seasons left of your life? How do you want to spend it? What do you want to do? What's important to you? Where are you focusing your time? Are you doing things that you love doing? Are you doing things that drain you? Like, what are you doing? And how do you start thinking about? And I don't want to make it sound like morbid or anything. And that's not how he was trying to make it sound. Like, obviously, I hope that I'm here to my 90s like my granny, as long as my brain is still um, still here. Is it here now? As long as my brain is still like good, I want to live as long as I possibly can, but it does kind of, I don't know, he was kind of saying once you get into your 50s, you've really got to like think about slowing down to a point. Do you know what I mean? Obviously in your 50s, you're still in a bit of a, like for me, I feel like I'm set back in my life after going through like a divorce or marriage separation. Like I feel like I'm set back because I don't have like a huge retirement fund. Do you know what I mean? So financially, I feel like I'm behind. And I feel like that sits on my mind. Like, okay, well, I'm 49 now and I can still hustle, but maybe when I'm 59, I might be struggling to hustle. So I need to hustle now. But then I get caught up in this hustle culture, which is actually so exhausting and detrimental to me and my mental health balance of life. It's so detrimental to me to do the hustle culture. And I know I do it, and I know I get caught up in it, and I'm guilty of it. Guilty. And sometimes I like it. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I thrive off being in hustle culture. Sometimes I freaking sit there crashed and burnt and think, my gosh, Mel, what are you doing to yourself? So I do think now that like I'm about to turn 49 and I'm low, like I've only got that 1 year before I hit my 50s, it's like, okay, Mel, where are we at for the next chapter of your life? Like 50 to 60, like what are we doing? Like, how are we working? How are we looking after ourselves? You're not really getting out and doing much exercise anymore. You used to go for walks and stuff, and now you're so busy, you're not really making time to go out for a walk, or you're so busy now. I'm so busy now that I eat lazy meals. And it's like, I need to like pull back, I think, on some of the workload of my eBay and stuff to find that balance of looking after myself, and cooking is a job. Cooking is something I love doing. I don't have any time anymore to hardly cook. It's like maybe slap a steak on the grill with some salad. That's it. Microwave potatoes. Like, I'd like to go back to cooking, not only for enjoyment but also for just I want to feel better. Like, and I think definitely I feel better when I eat better, not eat lazy. I don't think I eat terrible, but I do eat a lot of lazy meals. So yeah, and I just think I really want to start. I can really feel it now when I'm walking somewhere. Like I went to the hospital the other day with my daughter to take her to a doctor's appointment for her baby, an antenatal appointment. And we had to walk up this big hill at the hospital, and we got to the top of the hill, and I'm puffing. And I was like, I shouldn't be puffing after that walk. So, like, I'm fairly strong from lifting all the books, but I don't feel like I've got much cardio fitness going at the moment. And I don't want to get on the treadmill. I've got my bike, which I've fallen off the wagon with, and I need to get back on. But I also just think I need to get out into nature and slow down and do nothing sometimes. And I think by going for a walk and making sure, like, I'm not stimulated by the doom scrolling of the phone, and like I'm like just help clear my thoughts, which I think a lot of the time I need, because I get so caught up in my head and my thoughts, which is then what like puts me in these slumps, because I overthink everything, overthinking what people think of my eBay store, overthinking how the expectations that people have on me, overthinking that I've got to be like earn hundreds of thousands of dollars in my eBay store to prove that I can do it, when I don't. I've already proven that I can do it. Like, as long as I earn enough money to it's catch 22, because I feel like financially, like I'm behind for my future, but like financially, like the money side is a whole, like, that's something that goes through my head as that's a battle for me, because that's sometimes I think why I feel like I have to hustle, because I have money, but I'm not actually driven by money. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not driven by money as such. So, like, I can be doing really good and making really good money, and then I just cut it. Like my eBay store going like the best it's ever been, and then I just take 6 weeks off. Like, I'm not driven by the money, even like my YouTube. So, like, when I pump the videos out 3 times a week for like 2 months, like, the YouTube revenue was the highest it's ever been. And then, like, come this month, I just stop it again. And then I like, so I'm not driven by the money, if that makes sense. Like, the money's great, and I know that I need money, and I'm thankful for the money, and I want money, and I want a life that gives me options by having more money. But at the same time, I'm not driven by money. So, which is good, because I don't do things here just for the money. I'm not making videos just for the money. Like, that's why I stopped making them for a while, because I'm like, I'm not making what I want to be making, right? So, anyway, once again, I don't know where this video is going, and I can see the timer on there says 32 minutes, and I think 32 minutes is probably a long time for me to be sitting here rambling into the car, especially if you're having to watch me while I look like this with my hair and no makeup. I haven't even cleaned my teeth, and yeah. So let's end it up here. Thank you for letting me come in here and just, again, talk through, and I promise we'll get some fun videos going soon. I just need my creative spark to come back, so I know exactly what I need to actually make. And I'm just wanting to wait. I want to just have that feeling of, I want to make that type of video, and then I'm going to come out and make it, and I can't wait. Guys, thanks. Love you. Bye.